flying right by like it always does around this time, you know. Season ends and May is all downhill, and then kids are here for summer school in June, and July's a bunch of recruiting, and then we're back to practice August 7th for our trip. So it's my life.
Italy recently?
Yeah, I was there for a week. It's always a special place to go and get away, and I never hesitate to go back there whenever I can.
Geno, we were talking to Paige and Caroline, all the kids last week, and they were talking about how they used to go 110% in the summer, and after what's happened the last couple of years, they're now trying to be a little smarter about how they go. Have you talked to them at all about how hard to go in the off season, and are you doing anything differently to avoid injuries?
Well, the interesting thing is that we used to go a lot harder back in the day. So I don't know what it is about what's going on in the the world that these kids live in when they're in high school or whatever. But I can honestly say that every one of the kids that has been out for us came to us with an injury that led to the one they got from high school. So it wasn't like they came in here 100% and then all of a sudden something happened. Every one of them had an issue coming from high school and never got taken care of, or in some cases there was surgery involved. And then all of a sudden, because now all of a sudden it's the competition's better, they're trying to push themselves a little bit harder in the off season, and we only have them for the month of June. Most of the summer they're on their own. So all of our postseason, preseason, all of that work is individual and strength and conditioning, injury prevention stuff, exercises. That's basically all you do during this time of the year. You're doing individual work and trying to get better, and you're trying to prevent anything from happening the best you can. And so for how many years, like forever, we wouldn't win all those championships if we didn't know what we were doing. But we've had to change what we do drastically because the kids that we're getting coming out of high school are damaged. And sometimes they know it and tell us, and sometimes they know it and don't tell us, and sometimes they don't even know it. And then when they get here and we go through all the testing and everything we do, so then it's just a matter of we got to work really, really hard with this kid to make sure that what we think could happen doesn't happen. And a lot of times we're successful, and sometimes we're not.
What do you think the potential of this team could be? With those guys healthy and bringing in the new pieces that you guys have, and what has stood out from what you've seen in workouts so far in regards to that?
I would say, back to how healthy everybody is. Other than Ayanna, who just had a procedure done on her knee, and it's kind of reminiscent what Morgan Tuck had years ago. Other than that, and Amari's situation has been kind of ongoing, for over a year now. This is probably the best that we've been in quite some time. What we envisioned, when we put these recruiting classes together was, a senior class or a junior and senior class of these last 2 years of, Aaliyah Edwards and Nika and Paige and and then right behind them Caroline and AZ, and and then right behind them Ice and these other guys that and then Jenna and all the you're thinking, wow, we're really set up really good, and then none of it happened, and it's remarkable that we ended up getting where we've gotten. So when you think about it, if we are fortunate enough to have everybody all season long, I couldn't even tell you what's the potential, because I haven't seen it. And we haven't done enough as a team to kind of have seen it at this point. I would hope that by, obviously when we get back from our trip, we'll have a much better idea of what we're dealing with. But if you just go by how committed they are right now, and the intensity level and the energy level and just the vibe that's going through the building, it's at a different level than it has been the last couple of years. We just talked about it today. The thing I learned a long time ago actually it was from Svetlana, is stop talking about what you're going to do. Stop talking about what you hope happens and what happened last year and how you felt. That's now that you put that out there, that's it. It's over. It's done with. Everybody knows, hey, what's your goal at Connecticut? What do you think it is at Connecticut? The goal is to win a national championship every year. Everybody knows it. You don't have to talk about it. And we just had that discussion this morning. It's more important what we see every day, not what we hear. And this isn't a 1970s rock band, out for their, 60th tour, and they have to give every tour a name. Everybody's got a Redeem team, and everybody's got Reload team, and everybody's got, Unfinished Business team, and everybody's got, all this stuff going out there. Maybe we're not very social media savvy. I bet we just shut the fuck up and win games. I bet we just do that.
What's it been like to
Maybe that's what the tour should be. Shut the fuck up and win games.
What's it been like to see Paige get so close to coming back?
I just keep my fingers crossed all the time. Last year, in August, when Paige got hurt, she had never been that good in her life. And that's one of the things I'm talking about. Paige had an issue with her ankle in high school, and it never really got taken care of. And then we're working on and whatever. And this is the best she's ever been, the strongest she's ever been, the fittest she's ever been. This is the most time she has spent working on her body, her mind, just taking care of herself. And usually a lot of this stuff for these kids doesn't happen until they get to the pros, because they're not mature enough to understand what this means. Usually when they're in college, it's... So, when I eat pizza at 11 and, I have a couple beers on the weekends, I still play like I'm an All-American. So what's the problem with that? So I think she's way ahead of, and maybe that's what the year off did. It showed her, if you want a long career, this is how you're going to have to go about it from here on in. Injuries, no injuries, it doesn't matter. This is what you're going to have to do. And she's embraced it, and I've never seen her better, either as playing 1-on-1, 2-on-2, or 3-on-3, what she's doing in the weight room, just her whole walk, the way she walks around, the way everybody looks up to her, and the way everybody hangs on every word she says. There's just a maturity about her. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying here that we've reached a point where I'm going to say that all of a sudden Paige is a 30-year-old who just got back from meeting with the Dalai Lama, and she's got the whole world figured out. She's still a kid trying to figure it out, but she's got it figured out as best as it can be figured out by a kid her age having gone through what she's gone through.
Geno, what was the Italian saying that you embraced last year? It is what it is.
Oh, it is what it is.
But
yeah,
what was
I just
it
got back there.
What was it in Italian?
It's perché così.
That's right.
Perché così. So when people ask, like, that's the best answer I could ever come up with. You know, why did this happen? Because that's what it is, man. Like, there's some things we can control and there's some things we can't. And because we've been so good at controlling all the things that we can control all these years, we forget how many things are out of our control until they smack you in the face.
Is that something you'll be able to continue to lean into as a way to keep yourself?
Yeah, there's just a limit to how long you can kind of like keep a happy face in the middle of all this, right? And when you think about some of the kids on our team, they started their career with COVID. So it already got off to a bad start, right? I don't go to class, and nobody comes to the games. And it's like unlike anything that's happened in the last 100 years. So it started that way. And then the injuries pile up, and then, you know, we're in the Final Four and we lose. We're in the national championship game and we lose. And I mean, how many different things, you know, can a group of kids in some ways have to deal with? So after these last couple of years, it's like we're cautiously optimistic.
Paige was saying she may not play in Italy. It's possible she could, but she would rather take it cautiously, and people have been telling her to take it slowly. Where does that stand, and how cautious are you going to be with her going into the season?
Well, I probably have to check with her agent, her movie producer, her accountant, her financial advisor, her personal strength coach and conditioning coach, the people at Nike, Gatorade, Crocs. There's a lot of people you have to talk to anymore now before Paige, you know, steps on the court, you know. But at the end of the day, it's Paige, you want to play or not? And if she says, yes, I'm playing, then she's playing. If she says, maybe a little bit, then she'll play a little bit. If she says, not yet, then I'm going to ask her when. Because until you put your foot in the water, it's always going to be like, a little bit apprehensive, right? The question is when. Well, I think it's going to be when she feels mentally ready. Not physically ready, mentally ready. Physically, it's 90%. She said 90%. We were in the Final Four this coming weekend. You think she'd play? Hell yeah. But we're not, you know, this is in April.
Do you expect her, though, for the start of the season to be ready to go?
Well, if she's not ready to go, then I'm not ready to go. Let's put it that way.
Are you excited to see Ice Brady finally come out this year?
Yeah, Ice has been, she's been a study. There's a pace to her game that's just so old school and so fundamentally sound, and just in everything that she does, you know, there's just a good pace about it. And Jamel and I were just talking the other day about how we're fortunate that we've got like 3-level kids, you know, like they score around the basket, they score around in the mid-range game, and she's also a 3-point scorer. And so when you're starting with that, that's exciting, you know. So not having ever played, you know, you think about it, we've got I think 5 or 6 players this year that have never played college basketball in a real game. So a lot of it's going to be exciting. But here's the funny part. Like when you get kids, like our 3 freshmen are a perfect example. I say 3, but Jenna, you know, is also a freshman. So our 4 freshmen, some you got to push because they've never worked that hard, and then some you got to like pull them back a little bit because they want to go so hard, so fast. They want to accomplish so much in such a short period of time that you got to hold them back a little bit. So it's constantly a, kind of a give and take kind of thing. And with Ice, we're pushing her, and we're going to keep pushing her until she's back to where she was, before the injury.
What do you expect out of Jenna? I mean, she's kind of an unknown to all of us. We haven't even seen her much in practice.
Mm-hmm. Well, my guess is that there's going to be a lot of surprised people when they see her play. I always say, kids that come 6,000 miles or however the hell far it is that she's come, they don't come here to screw around. And they don't come here just because, they can write home and send pictures of stores. She's here for a purpose. She's on a mission. And her body has changed in the time that she's been here. Her game is improving every day, and her physicality is so impressive. And, here's a kid that competes every day against our practice players one-on-one. And when she loses, she is rip shit. She's not a happy camper. So she's competitive in everything that she does. And, I would like to think that, our post, we have so many guards, and we don't have as many post players, but the ones we do have are varied enough that I think we have a little bit of everything.
Jenna pretty talented as well as motivated.
She's exceptionally talented. She just needs game experience. She just needs game experience at the college level here in the U.S. Her dad contacted me when she got home, and he's the national team coach over there, and he said she's a whole different person than the one that left to come over here in January. So I was working with her this morning. She looks good. I'm excited for her.
You talk about today's golf tournament, what it means to you?
Today's golf tournament. Well, we've accomplished a bunch of things in a short period of time here. We have a lead sponsor, Freeman. They gave us $150,000 this year, and that got us that much closer, and we're like this far away from being able to write a check for $1 million. And that's our goal, to get to $1 million per tournament. Last year, I think we were like 700,000, something like that. So when you see what's going on over there, and you see some of the aspirations that they have of expanding and being able to do more for kids, not just in Connecticut. And when you see the turnout, people ask me, how do I get to play in your tournament? I said, you have to wait for people to not want to play, because we don't have any room for anybody. So it's something that I'm proud of, that so many people take personally, and a lot of the members here at Hartford Golf Club are really invested in it. And the staff that we have that works with the golf tournament, it's a year-round thing. It's like a mini Travelers. I talk to Nathan and Andy all the time. It's a year-round job, and it's paying off. And it's a good feeling when you see those kids, and when you see the impact that what we're doing is having. You'll hear about it from one of the kids, but it's something that our players look forward to. It's something that I enjoy. 3 of our players were at a kickoff event last Sunday, and it was said, and they all texted me and said it was one of the greatest things they've ever done to be involved in that. I don't know if if I get a bill for it at the end of the month. I haven't checked with their agents yet, but
Geno, you mentioned Ayanna having a procedure on her knee. I mean, how serious is that, and how long do you guys expect her to be out?
I don't know. I think our goal is to go easy this summer and see where that takes us. But as of right now, here it is in mid-June, late June. I don't think she'll be playing and being 100% for our trip. Beyond that, we expect her to be ready for the season for sure. We just don't know exactly when that will be.
Geno, when you're on vacation in Italy, do you think much about college basketball? Are you able to keep the job out of your mind?
In the old days, I could, but the 6-hour difference catches up to you over there because, it's 2:00 in the morning and you're talking to your staff or your players over here. That didn't used to happen in the past, but now, no matter where you go, it's always there, But yeah, I would say that's like that much part of my vacation.
Okay.
The rest of the time, that's see these problems.
Do you go to your where you were raised, or if you don't mind me asking, what were you able to do over there?
I was. We have this place on the Amalfi Coast in the actual town of Amalfi that we go to. It's about an hour and a half from where I was born, but it's galaxies away from where I was born. Because where I was born, there's probably more people at this golf tournament that were there, the day I was born. And down there, it's 150-foot yachts docked right there, and bigger than the block I grew up in, I think. But the culture's the same, the vibe is the same, the feeling that you get, when I get a chance to, slip back into my Italian and talk with those people, it just brings a smile on my face all the time. Makes me feel like I was like when I was a kid, and they all laugh at me because I don't speak true Italian,
Yeah.
I only did first grade, and when you live in a village where nobody went to college, most people didn't even go to high school, the language is very, very raw and like peasant.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it takes me a while to understand what they're saying. They understand everything I say, but it takes me a while to understand what they're saying. But after a couple days, it feels really, really good. It feels really good.
Do you spend much time out on the water? Or? You don't have a 150-foot yacht, do you?
We do not. We do not. We did take a boat, and we went to visit a couple places. Most everybody, when they're there, they go right, and everybody wants to go to Positano and Sorrento and Capri, and so it's that old Yogi Berra. Nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded, right? So we, obviously after all these years, that's not our deal. So we go left, where it's less crowded, less people, and it's just, I love coming back. I love going and I love coming back.
Lots of limoncello.
Lots of everything. That's the problem. Lots of everything.
How
Like
often?
you can't possibly eat like that here in America. Like breakfast, you say breakfast for Italians is not a big deal. Well, it is a big deal when there's, that much of it in front of you. It's decadent. And then lunch is at 2:30, and it's not like a ham and cheese sandwich. It's lunch, right? And then dinner's at 9, and it's dinner. Fortunately, the portions are small, but it's just like nonstop. It's never ending. So after a week of that, no wonder they walk everywhere they go.
Geno, when you talk to your players about, you don't have to talk about what the goals are. We know what they are.
Right.
That's probably somewhat difficult. I wonder, is it difficult for you because every time you meet the media or do something in public, I'm sure you're going to be like, hey, you guys going to win a title this year?
Right.
I'll probably ask you next time I see you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that it's got to be hard to maintain that in your own mind when everyone else also knows what the expectation is and wants to know whether you think it's attainable. You know what I mean?
Well, think about it. If everyone standing here in front of me knows what the goal is, but yet you're still compelled to ask me, are we going to win a national championship? So that's the goal, but now you want to know a yes or no answer.
You can do it.
And the answer is always going to be, if I'm being honest, depending on what kind of team I have, the answer is either always going to be, yes, we are. And when I don't think we're any good, it's going to be, no, we're not. And then when I think we're pretty good, but we need some luck, I'm going to tell you, yeah, we have a chance, but things have to break the right way. And that's the case every single year here. Some years, you just know we just don't have enough. And other years, we're going to win it. And other years, we need a break. Somewhere in the tournament, we need a break. And if we get that break, we're gonna win it. That's probably the case every year. Every year, it's one of those three answers.
Nick has become one of the best point guards in America. You got probably the best player and one of the best players in America coming back. How is her role going to change, and how are you going to, with all these guards, how are you going to manage the time?
Well, I'm going to manage it better than when we didn't have any guards. So we did a study, just for instance, Nika played 10 more games than some of our opponents' guards. So well, how's that possible? In the same number of games, she played an equivalent of 10 more games because of how many minutes she played every single night. So what's her role? It ain't going to be that. So her minutes are going to be drastically cut, and she'll be even more effective than she was last year. So everybody that was playing 38 minutes, 40 minutes, that's not happening anymore. Now, I'm saying that today, June 20th, let's just hope it stays that way, right? But in our best years, our best teams, Nikisha Sales, I use this all the time because she broke the school scoring record, averaged 24 minutes a game in her career, 4 years. 24 minutes a game. Now, some games she played 35, some games she played 20. But whatever minutes she had, they were amazing minutes. There was never, I'm tired. There was never, Coach, I can't go anymore, which happened this year. Coach, I can't physically go anymore. And we can't practice because we need you for 40 minutes tomorrow's game. So the roles are all going to be different. And whatever minutes people get, they're going to have to be really efficient and really good at it. Or their minutes are going to go down. And if they're really, really efficient, then their minutes are going to stay the same or go up. And our style of play has to change a little bit. Last year, Nika goes, I want to pick up full court. I said, go ahead. Is it anybody else? I said, no, you're just the only one that's going to do it. Go ahead, knock yourself out. And then she never asked me again the rest of the year. Now this year, she knows. That's exactly what I'm going to do every single game. Right? KK Arnold knows. That's exactly what I'm going to do every single game. Because I don't have to worry. Ashton Shade, Caden Samuels, they know. This is how we're going to play. If I want to get on the court, this is what I'm going to have to do. None of them are talking about, I'm taking shots away from Paige. No, you're not. No, you're not. And it's funny, we do these shooting drills and we put them on the board. And it's there every day in practice when they walk in. So they know the last 10 days, here's how many you made. And here's how many everybody else made. So you know. So now you also know when I come down the floor and I have a choice, do I shoot it or they shoot it? And if I shoot it and I don't pass it to them, call from your parents.
Have you gotten a chance to see Olivia or Tiffany down in Limoncello?
I haven't been around long enough to get down to a game. Thursday when the team went, I was out, but I'm going to try to get there in July. There's the July recruiting calendar's changed a little bit, so there's actually less days that you're out. So that's more days that I have an opportunity to go. I'm anxious to see Connecticut play. I've seen them on TV. They're really, really good. They're really good. And, Dorca's in the start lineup. Lou's rehabbing. I try to keep track of with what's going on. It's hard. There's too many of them.
Ladies and gentlemen, can
So I'm
all
gonna try to get
committee
down there.
members please make their way to the staircase?